Well, we finally have made it through the changing times of bookings and schedulings and links and calendars. Here we are, Maryal. How are you?
I'm doing well, Brett. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful as well, too. And it's Maryal, right? Maryal.
It is. People think that it's a unique name, but I'm Filipino, and it's very common to have Mary because of the Catholicism background of our culture in general, and then plus the dad's name. So my mom's is Mary, my dad's is Al.
Oh, Maryal. That's wonderful. That's so amazing. And from I guess from the outside, I just try to make it way more difficult than it is. Like I'm trying to read into it and read these different things. It's just Mary and Al, Maryal. Well, welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you here and talk with you more about your journey and the beautiful community that you've built, reaching into others' experience to now help and give back to more listeners on the show here. So, Maryal, tell us a little bit about your journey, and it is a medical journey, right?
It is, yeah. I am a family physician by training, specifically a rural family physician who still practices full scope medicine in terms of I do prenatal care. I do not do deliveries. I used to do colonoscopies. I stopped because of corporate medicine making me stop. And also I am able to take care of people, from cradle to grave, as well as do procedures because of the training that I was so fortunate to have in rural Nebraska. I was a person who went to medical school, went to residency, and then was an employed physician for a little bit shy of 6 years. When my employer basically presented myself and my husband, who is also a fellow family physician, a contract that basically said, people are cattle, you need to go faster, see more people per hour, and that was untenable for me. And so I made the decision to leave corporate medicine and go into my own clinic through the direct primary care model. And for listeners, if they're not familiar with the direct primary care model, what I like to say is it's old school medicine. So if your grandparent was able to call their doctor in their neighborhood, their doctor would already know them. They wouldn't have to, find their chart, find history on them. They would know that they would already have a connection, a relationship. And on top of that, now because we're in 2024 recording this, you have technology. So my patients are able to access me through a membership subscription, and that enables me to take a smaller panel of patients, to have a really good relationship with them, and to be accessible. And I am so excited that there are so many physicians, primary as well as specialty care physicians, who are choosing this model of care, direct primary care as a business model, because it is really hearkening back to why we went to medical school. And so, I am so excited to be here, just sharing a little part of my, knowledge and journey in being a business owner when it comes to real estate, especially because this is something that my community faces as one of the decisions in becoming a solopreneur. One, just being a physician who has been in practice for over 3 years now, that just provides a layer of relatability to other fellow physicians. And that's why I think so many people listen to the podcast that I host, because of not only is how I stumbled through, my journey to having a physical space that we own now, important, but also it's relatable because I come from the same knowledge base as physicians who don't have an MBA and who don't have a real estate license. Some do, but most people do not have those things. And so for me, I definitely listen to the people who've gone before me. I got legal, I got a lawyer, that legal piece really nailed in before I started looking for real estate. And I knew that in general, the recommendation in starting your own practice is trying to keep your overhead low, because not having an MBA, you're still learning, what is a business plan? What is a profit and loss statement? And the idea of, if you can keep your, the dollars that you're investing in your clinic as low as possible, it can allow you to be nimble as expenses come along. And so for me, I opened as a home visit telemedicine model only. I did not have a space when I opened for about the first year, maybe year and a couple months. And then my practice grew to the point where I could sustain rent. There is value in hearing the naysayers because you can prove from those naysayers' points what is a myth and what is actually a fear that can be overcome in entrepreneurship and autonomy. I also think that reaching out to people who have done bigger things compared to like wherever a person is. Like if a person is going from never having had a space to negotiating a lease, talk to someone who's negotiated a lease. If you're talking to someone who has already gone through renegotiating a lease, talk to them about what they learned, lessons learned from their experience. And I also think that it is definitely a mindset. There is a mindset portion to this, to say to yourself, especially in medicine, especially in primary care, if you can go to medical school, you could probably learn a bit about real estate and investing. We have a very large, presence of imposter syndrome when it comes to physicians. I would definitely say female physicians especially. And when it comes to looking at the future, that's something that a lot of employed physicians do not do because they're so focused on just surviving and they're not focused on what do I do after. And when you become an entrepreneur, especially as a DPC doctor, you get to find your path in the world that allows medicine to be balanced with your family time, and also it allows you to be balanced with your hobbies. And for a lot of people, they find that freedom in entrepreneurship so amazing and so different. And sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, what do I do with myself? And when it comes to especially, stepping away from a job where you might not have a 401k matched by your employer anymore, or you might not have health insurance, you can still survive and you can still be profitable. But telling yourself that that is even possible, I think, again, this goes back to knowing that other physicians are out there being physician entrepreneurs and parents and real estate owners all at the same time and being happier because of it. One of the things that I was very, very grateful for was to be able to live above the clinic where I worked in rural Superior, Nebraska during medical school and after during residency, during my rotations out there. And the idea of, it is so hard to find physicians to come to rural America. And if I can participate in, how I was mentored in that next generation exposure to what rural medicine is and how wonderful it can be, especially if you love living in a close-knit community, if you love being a full scope physician, if you love being able to have your patients appreciate you just because you're a doctor who stays in rural America. Those are the things that we are looking at to try to steer where we're going with investing in our own property that we have now. When we talk about the patients themselves, I have a patient who just yesterday, she said, I need your business to make money so that you don't leave because I don't know what I'm going to do without my doctor. And that's, a very dire example, but it really paints how there is a relationship that I have with my patients and they value that. And this is a patient I had in my fee-for-service practice, and they never mentioned things like that because I take much better care of my patients now. And so, this idea that we have more time to think about how are we going to look at real estate and investing in particular, we never had that time before.